Hi, this is Trish with Peregrine Designs, and I'm wanting to give a class today on how to make a really nice wallet. What I notice is my friends or my students will come in and they're digging through their wallet, and their wallet is literally bursting at the seams. And it's because the wallet is not the right size. The wallet is not accommodating what they need the wallet to accommodate. And so the tactic is you either get rid of stuff in your wallet, or why don't you make a wallet that works a better size for you? And with the advent of really big cell phones, I wanted to make a wallet that was much more useful in terms of holding what I wanted it to hold. So this is my third revision, and this is an example of a wallet that I made. This is a nice wallet, has a real pretty button here and some specialty zippers, but this wallet will hold not only my cell phone. Right in here I've got a Velcro pocket. Got a Velcro pocket here that my cell phone will go in, but it will also, on the outside, it will hold 3 easy cards. Costco Sam's card I just need to get quickly out of my purse, maybe my supermarket cards, any of your quick cards. It has a D-ring advice here, a D-ring issue here. I have 2 D-rings so that I can use a lanyard, so I can have a wristlet, or if I'm traveling, I can also have a crossbody strap. So this will hold onto my crossbody and I don't need to be dragging around a big purse. So I like that. On the inside, I have another zippered pocket here, and I have a pocket here that will hold my checkbook because I'm old and I have a checkbook. Pens, obviously, another big pocket here. And these are from my 9 cards. This will hold 9, possibly a little bit more because I'll try to adjust the sizing of this, but it'll hold 9 important cards, credit cards, driver's license, all the ones that are really pretty important. But it's a very nicely structured wallet, not very bulky, fits easily in my purse. And I wanted, like I said, I had to design this 2-3 times because I wanted something that would comfortably fit a cell phone. And as cell phones are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, you need a wallet that will accommodate that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to show you how to make it. Not hard to make, but let's go through the supply list. The supply list, let me go through what I'm going to do. I'm making a purse and I'm going to make it predominantly white. I thought that was kind of pretty, with really pretty turquoise accents, because I can, So I'm going to make a purse, and I said, well, gee, if I'm making a purse, why don't I just go ahead and make a wallet? So that's what I'm going to do. Some of the stuff that you're going to need is you're going to need fabric. And because of my wallet size here, I use 2 fabrics. I use the orange fabric and I use the pink fabric. Pink fabric I use for lining fabric. You can probably get away with 1 fat quarter for your lining if you're going to do the same lining. You could probably get away with 1 fat quarter. Yep, you should get away with 1 fat quarter for your lining. For these fabrics, this fabric, this fabric, this fabric, this fabric, you're smart if you probably go for a good full half yard. Better to err on a little bit, too much than a little bit too little, because everything is cut about 9 inches wide. So, fat quarters are nice because fat quarters are 9 inches by about 22 inches long. So a half a yard of the orange, probably 1 fat quarter for your lining. You'll also need stabilizer to make this work, because if you're using a quilting cotton, and I recommend using a quilting cotton, because it's not as hard as a home deck fabric. A home deck fabric sometimes can give you a little bit too much stability. It depends on your machine. If you've got a really nice home deck fabric that you really like, knock yourself out. But this is all quilting cotton, and I had to stabilize it. So what I ended up using is I used a real popular product, and this is called Pellon. This is called Shapeflex. Let me see if I can show you what that looks. It's Shapeflex SF101. This is in white. I used a white. And I really like that. It's very stable. It's got a fabric kind of on the outside. It's kind of woven on the outside, but the inside is a pebbly, sandy texture, which is the adhesive. Now, I went on Amazon and I decided, oh, okay, I'll buy a bolt on Amazon and see what happened. And I don't mean to diss Amazon, but that particular vendor sent me what looked like a bolt of Shapeflex, but it wasn't Shapeflex. It had the fabric outside, but the inside was a very thin, glossy adhesive, and it just doesn't stick. It just didn't work worth a doggone. So I would say, look at your reviews hard, because some of them, when the price is really good, almost too good to be true, you might want to look at those reviews because it wasn't Shapeflex. It doesn't adhere, and I was unsatisfied. So that was a shame. Also, Shapeflex will always come with a kind of a, let me show you, if you buy a bolt of Shapeflex, it'll always come with a plastic or a paper, kind of an insert that's wrapped around that kind of says, hey, this is your Shapeflex. You'll always get genuine Shapeflex at a place called, like Joann's or some of your big stores. You'll get genuine Shapeflex. I just want to say just buyer beware because I was really disappointed. I had to send it back, so I was really kind of PO'd. Good Shapeflex. You're going to need a fair amount of that. Probably, I would probably go for at least a yard, maybe 2 yards. Better err on extra than err on, ooh, I'm short. So this is not too bad. So Shapeflex. You will also need a product that I really like. I used to make this wallet out of foam, and I like the foam, but it is kind of bulky and it takes a little bit more time to do, and it's harder on a home machine to kind of pound through. So I decided to kind of change it around a little bit to make it a little bit slimmer, but still add a lot of stability. So what I ended up using was this is a Pellon number 926. It's an ultra, who is this? Extra firm stabilizer, Pellon 926. This is very nice. It is not as thick as Peltex. Peltex is another Pellon product that it's more akin to something that you'd see in the brim of a baseball hat. Peltex, I have made one with Peltex. It's too stiff. I just didn't like it. It was just too stiff. This is the Goldilocks scenario. This was actually pretty perfect. So I liked the 926 extra firm stabilizer by Pellon. So I really like that. So that worked really, really well. You will need zippers. And let me go through. You can use a regular dress zipper. I'd say buy at least 11-inch wide dress zippers. You're going to need two dress zippers. But the nice thing is if there's a source that I use she's in Fort Collins, Colorado, and her name is the Zipper Lady. The Zipper Lady. I'll do this. thezipperlady.com. And what you're looking for is on her website. She has, on the left-hand side of the website, she talks about, hey, zippers for handbags. That's what you're looking for. And those zippers are called a number 5 zipper. And the number 5s are a thicker zipper. It's not as thin as a dress zipper. It's a little bit wider zipper, more substantial. And I really like those. And they come in a billion colors. And you can actually buy, if you wanted to actually buy a color set, she slices them up and she sends you all the different colors. So you can, if you want blue, honey, there's 14 different blues. Figure out what blue you want. You also buy the pull separately. And if you're buying a number 5 zipper, you're going to be buying a number 5 pull. The pulls come in 2 sizes. They come in a regular, always you'll get a standard pull, and they also come in a long pull. And I'll show you the difference. So I encourage you to go buy zippers at the Zipper Lady because you can buy a plethora, and let me see if I can show you. You can buy a billion of them. It's like crack candy for the crack addict. So what I'm going to do is because I've got a turquoise accented bag, I'm going white with turquoise. What I thought I would do is do a kind of a snow white zipper, and you buy it by the yard. How much do I buy? 2-3 yards. You don't waste it. So I'll buy 2-3 yards of it, and I'll buy 20 pulls. At least 20 pulls. You may not need a lot of zipper, but you always need a pull. So you go through pulls more than you think. So I'll buy 2-3 yards of the color that I like, and then I'll buy the pulls. This is an example of a long pull. You can see, I'm trying to see this, I'm sorry. It's got a longer pull, it's got a longer, so you can grab it a little bit easier. And then this is, I was going to use this zipper too, but I may use these pulls. So what you can do is you can do a white zipper with a turquoise pull. This is an example of a regular standard short pull. This is a locking pull. This, this locks into place. This one does not necessarily lock into place. Does it make a difference in this application? No, not really. Does it make a difference if you're making a pair of pants? Yes, does, because if you use a locking pull, your zipper stays up. If you use a non-locking pull, your zipper falls down, and then, then you've got a wardrobe malfunction that is not necessarily cool. So I would encourage you to go on thezipperlady.com and go searching around, because I think you'll really like it. Next, let's see, we talked about that. You're going to need other things. If you're going to do, a lanyard and everything, you're going to need what's called D-rings. 2 D-rings, and you can find those easily. 3/4 inch actually works pretty well. I think a 3/4 inch D-ring, they're down here. 3/4 inch works really well. You can probably get away with 1 inch. 1 inch may be a little bit too big. This is not a heavy bag. This is just not that heavy. So, 3/4 inch is a little less bulky. You could probably get away with 1/2 inch as well. So let whatever you can find knock yourself out is perfectly fine. You will also need, if you're going to do like the lanyard or the wristlet, this is called a swivel hook. This is a swivel hook where this thing turns around. This is a swivel hook. This is in an inch wide. I think that's fine. I think an inch wide swivel hook is going to be working fine. I don't think the D-ring needs to be that, 3/4 for a D-ring is fine, but an inch wide swivel hook, because I want something that's reasonably sturdy so that when I put it on, it will, hold on pretty nicely. So let's see, what have we gone over? Velcro. You'll need 1 piece of Velcro. Let me see if I can do this. You'll need 1 piece of Velcro about 4 inches, 3 to 4 inches wide. 3/4 inch or a 1/2 inch width Velcro is fine. Do the sew-in. If you get the adhesive kind, the gluey kind, and you want to actually sew that in, the adhesive is really tough on your needles of your sewing machine, and you'll just gum up your needles. So you get the sew in, because then you know it's going to be sewn in. Let's see, what else did I tell you? I told you a button, 3/4 inch to an inch button. I think this button right here, which I like because it's sparkly. This is an inch button, so I think inch works well. 3/4 of an inch, not too much. I wouldn't go certainly wouldn't go any smaller than 3/4. You could go a little bit larger than an inch. Whatever, it's an accent. It's your wallet, girl. You just do whatever you. I told you D-rings, 3/4 inch D-rings is about right size. And then we'll talk about how to make the straps and the swivel hooks. An inch wide swivel hook is probably about right. That's fine. I've talked to you about zippers. I've talked to you about interfacing. Another product that I use quite a bit it's called Pellon. It's another Pellon product. It's called True Grid. I think it's TRUGRID. It's True Grid, and it comes, this is an example of it. You can kind of see the blue, very, very faint blue lines. These blocks are roughly 1 inch. Are they exact 1 inch? No. I mean, you'll have a little bit of fail there, but it's good enough, and I really like it. It has no adhesive, so you can come at it with an iron. Not with steam. Try not to steam it, but you can come at it with a good iron. The reason why I use it all for my patterns, because if I'm doing a lot of these, it's just a lot easier to lay this down on my fabric, cut it out, than it is to constantly be measuring, cutting. So I use this for all of my patterns. When I make my outfits, I use it to make my patterns for my outfits, so I never cut into my beautiful pattern. And I make a ton of purses, and I make a lot of wallets. So I use it for all of that because it saves me a lot of time. This is called Pellon True Grid, and then I can write on it and tell, hey, what am I doing? What am I doing? This is my outside lining. This is the outside lining that I made in white. And then I gave myself an idea of what it is. So this is very helpful. And how much of this do you need? Couple yards or something like that, couple yards will be fine. And you'll have more than what you need. But if you're like me, you make one and then you adjust the size. Maybe you need it smaller, maybe you need it bigger, maybe you have one of those giant phones, so you make it bigger. So let your conscience be your guide. When we come back next, I'm going to lay out all the pieces and what the sizes are, and we'll go from there. All right, I'll see you in just a second. Okay, I'm back. What I wanted to do is I wanted to show you some of the pieces that you're going to need to cut out, okay? You're going to need, let me go through so you can visualize what we're doing here. Let's start with the big piece. The big piece is your 9-card holder, okay? And the reason why you've got 9 cards is because this piece of product here is 9 inches wide, but it's 28 inches long. So it's a long piece, and you kind of origami fold it. And let me show you what that looks like. I'm going to move my camera, so I apologize. I'm going to have to move my camera. Let's see if you can see what. Let me see what you can do. Let me turn my. Let me turn around. Hold on just for a second. Okay, your 9-card slot. Okay, it is 9 inches wide, so 9 inches by here, by 28 inches long. So it's a very thin, long piece. If you're really tight on fabric, it's not impossible to go ahead and piece a piece, because as you origami fold this thing, that crease, you'll kind of lose that crease. It'll die somewhere, and it won't necessarily be a problem. So if you have to piece it, you can probably get away with that, not too hard. What I've also done is I've shape flexed this. Okay, that's the shape flex that we like. That's the product that has the fabric on one side, but the pebbly, sandy adhesive on the other. If this is clear and shiny, it ain't gonna stick well and you're gonna be disappointed. So you want real shape flex. So you've got this 9 by 28 piece. Now what I've done is I've also cut my shape flex about 1 inch narrower these ways. I cut it about 1 inch narrower here, and or 1/2 inch here, 1/2 inch here. Why? It reduces a wee bit of the bulk, because this is probably the bulkiest piece that you have, and so if I cut it just a little bit narrower, then I reduce a little bit of that side bulk. So I like that. So let's see what this looks like. This is going to be in my turquoise fabric. I really like that fabric. That really turned out nice. So let's see. You're going to make marks on your on this piece, okay? And the reason why I have a little star mark here is because this is a nice clean piece of fabric right here. At this end, I have the remnant piece. I'm okay on the remnant, or the seam, or the selvage. I'm okay on this being on the end because it will end up being cut and pulled in on the way back, and you'll just never see this. So I'm not worried about this. Also, be mindful, if you have directional fabric and you've got kitty cat fabric and you want the kitty cats to be up, okay, then this piece here, you want your kitty cats, puppy dogs to be in the upright position. So make sure that how you cut this out is directional, so that this piece right here is this piece right here. So make sure that your direction, this piece has to be directional, okay? You will figure that out. My recommendation is don't go directional for your first project, because you could be disappointed. This piece here, what we're going to do is we're going to make marks on this, and I just did this with ballpoint pen. Your inclination is, well, let me use a friction pen. Let me do a friction pen marker. Don't, because you're going to need to crease and press this. And so what you're going to do is you're going to make ballpoint marks. You really won't see it because you've got your shape flex on this side, so it's going to be very light. So what I've done is I've taken sorry, I'm going to have to move everything out of the way here. And let me give you a snap at that. So it's 9 by 28, and let me make your marks at 3.5, 6 3/4, yada, yada, yada. And you can see, and I'm going to press this out, and I'll press it in, out, in, out, in, out. In. It's kind of like an origami, a little bit of an origami fold. So what I've done is, on my cutting mat, you can put it on your cutting mat like this, okay? And so it's all lined up on your cutting mat. So my left border, sorry, this is a mess. My left border is right here. And so what I've done is I've come out 3.5, 6 3/4, 10 1/4, 13 1/4. So you can see where I've come out. And you just start from the left and you just add yourself out here. That makes it very simple. I've made my marks, and I've also done little bitty cut marks, little tick marks right here, because this is helpful when I start to fold it and crease it. This is in just a light ballpoint, maybe a pencil, not in friction, because you lose your marks if you put it in friction. This tells me that this is the front piece right here, and so this is non-directional fabric, so I don't have a big issue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and show you how I do the pressing, and let me get this pressed, and I'll come back at you and I'll show you what we did. Going ahead and do my pressing, but let's go through the numbers again. These are all the numbers and the marks that you're going to make, and you're going to make your little tick marks. You're going to make little marks because it's helpful to be able to line those marks up. Just little 1/4 inch marks, not real deep, just little baby ones. The first one you're going to press out, and this is your 3.5 right here, and out means kind of wrong sides together. So what I've done is I brought my tick marks together, and I've gone ahead and pressed that out. So that's wrong sides together, that's an out press. This 6 3/4, this gets pressed in. Okay, so that's why my tick marks are handy. This gets pressed, this 10 1/4, this gets pressed out. This gets pressed in, out, in, out. Okay, and when you put it all together, let me go ahead and put it all together. Okay, let's put it together. Remember, here's my little star mark. So this is, which tells me this is the beginning. This is the front of my, my wallet right here. So that was pressed out. So what I do is I bring them up here, okay, and I bring it up again here, and so on. And so eventually what you have is and it just kind of accordion folds up. And I'll bring it one more time up and down, okay? So now you have this thing and it's accordion folded. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use a demo card. All your cards, driver's license, credit cards, they are normally 2 1/8 inch wide. They're 2 1/8 inch here, okay? So I'm going to make marks, and I'm going to go ahead and sew my seams, but I'm going to sew my seams at 2 1/4 inch, maybe even a skosh more than 2 1/4, like literally a 1/16 of an inch more than 2 1/4. Why? I need that width. I need that width. I need these to be comfortable in terms of, I need this to be comfortable. These need to be reasonably tight, but I don't need them so tight that I can't, I can't get them in, or it's so loose that they fall out. It just has to be the Goldilocks. So I'm going to go ahead and press this. Even though I've told you to make your marks at X mark, you may have to adjust this. When you put this thing in, you may say, okay, that's enough. I like that. I can see what that card is. Do you want it down farther? Do you want it up farther? It's your call. These marks, these numbers that I've given you, 13 and, all these different numbers that I've given you, are guidelines only. You may have to adjust this slightly to make it work for what you want it to look like. That's not a bad height for me. That works out well. That is not a bad height either. I can generally work with that. And so you probably are playing with it. And so if you have to adjust it, then you adjust it and then you press. They should be in the vicinity of correct, but you may have to do a little bit of playing with this to make it work for your cards. So let me go ahead. I'll get this thing ready, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take it to the machine, and we'll go ahead and make our lines, okay? I'm going ahead and press this, so I kind of like the way that that's looking. I can live with that, those sizes. So that looks pretty good. I like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start making my marks. First, you want to find rough center of your, and you can eyeball it. I can take a look at it, and I know that rough center is about right here. Or what you can do is you can fold it in half, right? I can fold it in half like this, and I can make a very small little tick mark right here. And let me go ahead and do that. Hold on. What I've done is I folded that in half, and literally I made just a very minute tick mark right there. I just cut a little angle off of it, because then when you open it up, you can kind of see right there, you can see the little tick mark that I've done. So that kind of tells me that that's center. And then I can put a card in there and roughly get the card on center. You've got a little bit of flex. If you take a look here, 3 cards fit pretty comfortably, and I do have a little extra on the sides so that I can generally make this work. I've got a little bit of flexibility. So I'm going to roughly find center here, and here is center. Here's my center here. Here's the center of my card. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my OmniGrid, and I'm going to go ahead and I'll go ahead and make a mark. Here's my, let me pull up my card so you can kind of see it more visually. I'm going to probably put my, I'm going to make a line down here. You can make the line, you can make it with a chalk marker, or you can use what's called the friction pens. I bought these on Amazon. These are nice. These are friction. And the nice thing about these, let's take this one. And if I do this, and you come at it with an iron, it goes away. And it generally goes away pretty well. I will tell you that there are some fabrics, crepe, satin back crepe, no girl, it is not going away easy. So be careful, you might want to test it, but you can use a friction, or if you've got a chalk liner, you can use a chalk liner on this. I would recommend though, be careful about chalk liners. If you use a white chalk liner, those will generally come off pretty well. White and yellow come off pretty well. But if you use the dark, you know, the blue or the gray chalk liner, and you've got really light fabric and you use blue or gray, I have had a hard trauma. That did not come off easy, and I was disappointed. So be mindful. Do a test run to make sure that it'll come off on your fabric. Here I may do a friction, I don't know. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this up, and I'll come right back at you, and I'll show you what I'm going to show you what I'm going to sew. Okay, what I did was I made my lines, and I made my lines. Actually, the line, you know, I made it about 2 3/8, because remember, this is 2 1/8. 2 1/4 will be snug and will work perfectly, but sometimes I may put more than one card in the slot. So I tend to err on just a skosh more. So I think that's 2 3/8 distance between my lines. You can do them individually and check what you're doing, or after you've done a bunch of these, you can do them all in one run. What I tend to do is I will tend to start sewing at the bottom. I'll come up and I'll pivot here, and I'll sew back down over the same line. You can kind of see what I've done here. I started, you don't see it, but I've started at the bottom, I came up, I pivoted, and I came back down. There are times in your build here that you can fix a mistake, and if you don't come up enough, and it's hard to fix it after the fact, so do it right the first time. Accuracy is not a bad thing here. Be accurate. If you are too tight, you won't get your cards in. If you're too loose, you run the risk of a card flying out. So I really tell you, 2 1/4 inches at a minimum, 2 1/4, possibly just a skosh more than 2 1/4. So what I'll end up doing is I'll do my first run, and then I'll stick my cards in to see if I like how it fits. If I like it, great. You know, if I don't like it, I'll just rip it out and do it again. So I'm going to go ahead and sew this. So you'll sew this just like it is now. You don't sew it to any of the lining. You'll sew it just like it is now, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm at my sewing machine, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make my card slots right here. So what I'm doing is making my card slot. This line I used my friction pen just to see if it showed up, but it looks like my white chalk liner was good enough, and then I know that will come off. We're having a massive snowstorm outside, as you can tell, so you know, playing with the snow. What I've done is I've made my first line here, and I'll go ahead and make this line right here. I'll start from the bottom, I'll work my way up to the top, and I'll go ahead and pivot here, and I'll come back down. Okay, so let me go ahead and go into that, and then you can see that this will either fit or it won't. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll go ahead and come up, you know, I'll come up from the bottom, and I'll come and I'll pivot. But before I go final, I'll put my card in. Let me see if I can do this with just one hand. I'll put my card in the slot. Let's see. And then I'll check the fit and say, oh, okay, I like it, or I don't like it. I like the fit here. That works well. It's comfortable enough. It slightly tightens when I, you know, go final on the wallet. This slightly tightens down a little bit, so I like this. But generally, like I said, 2 1/4 will be fine. Possibly, literally a 1/16 of an inch larger than 2 1/4 will be fine. And you can always dry fit your card in here before you decide to go multiple runs here. I am using an industrial sewing machine. You don't need to. Obviously, you don't need to at all because you don't have one. So a regular sewing machine will be perfectly fine. Probably a 2.5 to 3 inch or 3 stitch length will be fine. You're looking for a fairly substantial needle. I would go at least 80-12, maybe a 90-14 needle, because you are pushing through a fair amount of fabric. And the reason why we kind of skimped a little bit on the shape flex is because I reduce a little bit of the bulk when I start to put my wallet together final. Okay. Next we're going to do the zippered pocket. I have 2 zippered pockets. I'm going to use the Real Pretty Turquoise for both of my zippered pockets, and I've cut them 9 inches wide, okay, by 10.5 inches long. I'm going to then subcut just a 4-inch. And because I've got 2 zippered pockets, let me show you what happens here. This is my pretty zippered pocket right here. Again, if you have directional fabric, I've told you directional fabric is up, because what ends up happening is this 4-inch piece right here is actually this piece right here. Okay, so if you have puppy dogs, you want your puppy dogs to be, let's see, like that. And then this larger piece, the 6.5 inch, this becomes 6.5 inch. This piece holds on here and it wraps around the back. Okay, so this piece is your directional piece. This piece is what shows to the public. Again, for your first dance, probably smart not to use directional fabric, just so that you can kind of understand it. So what I've got is I've got it shape flexed. You shape flex it to the edge here, that's fine. This doesn't get very bulky. The card pocket, that gets bulky. That gets a bit bulky, but this one doesn't get real bulky. So what we've got is we've got our zip pocket is here, and we're going to subcut it 4 inches. And so I'll take both at the same time because I've got, they're both the same size. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut it right down here. And let me go ahead and cut it, and then I'll get my zipper ready. Okay, here's my zippered pocket. Okay, it's 9 inches wide right here by 10.5 inches this way. I'm going to subcut it, so I'll turn it this way, and I'm going to subcut it at the 4-inch mark. And so I've done that. That's 4 inches, and if that's 4, the math tells me that that's 6.5. This is the piece the public sees. Okay, so this is the piece that your puppy dogs need to be facing up or non-directional. Okay, I think what I'm going to do, because I like it, I think I'm going to use a white zipper, right? But I think I'm going to use a turquoise pull because I can. So what I've done is I've taken my zipper, and here's my zipper, my roll of zipper, and I'm going to go ahead and cut it a little bit larger than what I need to cut it. I'm going to cut it maybe, an inch larger than what I need to cut. So I've given myself a little bit extra room here. It just gives me a little bit extra room. There's very little wastage when you buy zippers by the yard. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that, and then I'll show you how to put the zipper pull on. Quickly show you what I mean. The Zipper Lady has a plethora of zippers. Okay, and so if you buy the the pack of what's available for that year, you also get, not only you get all the different zippers, but you also, the colors, but you'll also get a legend that will tell you, hey, these are all the zippers that you can get. So you start at white, and there's white, and then you work your way down. So if you want blue, you've got quite a selection of blues that you can play with, and pinks and whites and all kinds of different colors. So I really, this is just too much fun. So like I said, we're going to play with white, and we're going to do turquoise pull.